Welcome back. So good to see you. It's that time of week where we like to check in with our good friend, Matt Lee. And Matt, wishing you a great morning. We're talking about spring cleaning and maintenance, especially for homes that might be going up on the market soon. A lot of things to consider, things you might not have even considered. How are you?
I'm great, thank you. How are you?
Very well. A busy time for
Good.
every homeowner.
Yeah, it's very busy, and this is kind of a combination between, preventative maintenance and getting the house ready if you're going to list it. So
Right.
we're talking about things that you can do even if you're not going to list it because you want to make sure that you don't have any damage with the house. So what we're looking at to start off is I would say that the gutters need to be cleaned right off the bat. When we get this really nice weather in springtime, you know that that rain's coming. We're going to get a downpour. It's going to be kind of one of those really quick hits, especially being close to the lake. Um, and when that happens, you want to make sure that any water that's going to hit that house is going to go down the gutters properly and away from the house.
There are
So,
some people that clean the eaves troughs in the fall.
yeah,
Maybe once the leaves have fallen, you can get up there
right.
and do it then. Is it better to do it in the fall or in the spring?
Well, depends. Both is kind of the answer, to tell you the truth, because over the winter, you notice a lot of trees that really the leaves don't drop until the snowfall, and all of a sudden that weight of that, and then you could have sticks and you can have different things. And actually what you'll get is you'll get a bit of that asphalt off the shingle that
Mm.
will come off with ice and snow, and it will go down and it'll start to kind of bung up with the leaves. It'll kind of create like almost like a mud, and you want to make sure that that isn't blocking your downspout to get that water away, because if it fills up, it's going to backtrack into the house.
Great advice. While you're outside, fresh coat of paint maybe.
Fresh coat of paint, looking at the windows to see if they need caulking, and the shingles, just standing back with a set of binoculars, or having a look yourself, just to make sure that nothing has kind of gone up a little bit. What I've shown as a picture is that the shingles have kind of given a little bit of a rise, and what can happen is the ice over the winter could actually push that nail out a bit, and then all of a sudden you've got this spot where water will actually backtrack into the house, and it'll go up, and it'll kind of get into that plywood. You'll either create a bit of rot, or you could get a bit of a drip into some insulation, and you just want to prevent all of these things.
A scary picture here. It looks like a
Yeah,
crack on the underneath a window frame.
this is the caulking thing about the windows. So our weather in Canada, you get into these minus 30s, the caulking can't hold up to this all the time. And basically what'll happen is that if it separates from the vinyl window, or it separates from the flashing, or something over time, it wears out. um, and rain hits this over time, and will make its way under the window. It could basically work its way under the window and down the backside of your drywall. You might not even notice. So if you think everything's perfectly fine because everything's been sealed from the inside, but all of a sudden you start to see this bubbling that's happening in paint, or you'll start to see a tape line from the drywall where it meets. Um, that could potentially be water coming in from a window sill and going in the backside. So I would just have a quick walk around, have a look, make sure that everything's kind of is sealed up nicely.
While you're doing that little look around the exterior, check out the taps.
Basically, you've got these frost-free lines. They're about 18 inches long, and there's the tap is supposed to. It's got a spring in it. It's supposed to push the water back inside the house. And they say that you don't have to turn the water off. I beg to differ. If you go to turn that tap on in the spring, I would check the basement to make sure that the joint between the frost-free tap and the copper hasn't separated, or hasn't cracked, or anything hasn't happened there, because I actually had that happen 15 years ago, where um, I went to turn it on, and it actually started dripping out of the copper on the floor in the basement,
Ooh.
because it was so cold that it just kind of radiated back in through, and cracked that copper. So they're not foolproof. I would have them checked. So if you turn it on, turn your tap on, just sneak in the basement, have a look, make sure that there's no drips.
Oh, great advice there. And
Yeah.
if you're putting your home up on the market, now's the time to do some maintenance on the foliage and the shrubbery.
You can either do this in the fall, or you can do this in the spring. I think it's a great time to do it right now, because before you start to see everything bud, right now is the time to shape them. You know, you want to cut them down, you want to reshape them, you want to do anything you want. If you do that right now, the buds haven't started. You will get to the point where all of a sudden that will hit you'll get the combination of the rain and the sun, and it'll come out perfect the way you want it.
Final word, sir.
Yeah, I think that it's busy market. I think that we're just kind of going into the springtime. I would check your. I think that we already went through daylight savings. I would check your smoke detectors, make sure that they're not expired. We really don't change batteries as much anymore. You either throw them out and get new ones. Change the furnace filter. Get ready.
And get ready for you to have a busy season, I am sure. We thank you so much, Matt Lee.
Yeah, thank you. Bye.
Real estate tips brought to you by Matt Lee of Royal LePage.